All right, everybody, welcome to BO Boys for Monday, April 29th. Fuck it. It's a raw feed. We are doing it live. I am Clayton.
Yeah, I'm Pat. Clayton, it's a big weekend, a highly anticipate, maybe most anticipate movie of the spring for us. Opened this past weekend. The results are in. We're here late at night on a Sunday night, and we are here to talk the results for Zendaya's Challengers weekend. So, I mean, I think you know, let's not beat around the bush. Let's plow around that bush and let's see how this movie opened up. So would you mind giving us a plow for the weekend of Friday, April 26th?
Challengers made $15 million in its first frame. Number two, Unsung Hero made $7.7 million also in its first frame. Number three, Godzilla X Kong, the collab, made
Wow.
$7.2 million, down only 25%, even though it lost 346 theaters. It's at $181.6 million in its fifth weekend of release. Number four, Snivel War made $7 million, down 38%. It lost 411 theaters. It's at $56.1 million in its third frame. And number five, Abigail, $5.2 million, down 49%. It added 9 theaters. It's at $18.7 million in its second frame. That is your top five, Pat.
Um, and we're not going to talk about this one at all, but it is a new movie, so I'll just throw it out there. Our opening at number 10 was something called Boy Kills World. It's a Bill Sarsgaard action star. The thing I
Mm-hmm.
know about this movie is that it got such bad reviews in advanced screenings, and I think whatever festival it played at, that they completely redubbed the narration. It was originally the star, Bill Sarsgaard, did all the narration. It was the voice in his head is narrating the movie. And they redubbed it so that John Benjamin, the can of vegetables from Wet Hot American Summer, best known as a
Mm-hmm.
can of vegetables, is now the voiceover in Boy Kills World. And they
Wow.
did some
So,
machinations. I heard this on one of our chief horror correspondent, Brett of The New Flesh, one of his other podcasts, Roger and Me. He reviewed this movie, gave this incredible backstory. But yeah, John Benjamin redubbed the voiceover for that movie, Boy Kills World, and the movie tanked despite
wow.
that. So,
So even with the star power of John Benjamin, the star of John Benjamin Has a Van,
yes, yes.
he could not push that thing over the finish line. Now, we won't talk about it, but I saw trailers
We've
for
talked
this, and
about
I'll
it
tell you
so
what.
much already.
Okay,
It's
but I'm not a
stunning.
critic, huh?
Uh,
But I will say that if you want to know the sort of movie aesthetic that I like the least,
okay.
watch that trailer. That sort of movie is the aesthetic I like the least.
Right. You were very turned off last summer by Brad Pitt's Bullet Train.
Yes.
And,
Well,
and Brad Pitt's
that's
Bullet Train is high end of this type of movie that Boy
yeah.
Kills World is trying to do.
Boy Kills World is more polar.
It's very polar. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
that is
that is the aesthetic I despise the most. But
yes.
anyway, let's
Yeah.
be positive.
Let's be positive. Well, I mean, let's see. I mean, let's just go right into this number one movie of
Well,
the
yeah,
weekend.
who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck? Let's do it.
Wow, going for it. Okay, challenges opens at 15. So basically it opened right in the center, bullseye center of the tracking, right? This was
Mhm.
tracking like, 11, 12 to 18, 19, right? I mean, did it even get that high in the tracking? I think maybe 17 or so might have been the highest version. Listen, I went 21 on my
Mhm.
prediction for this. I think you went 19. So we
I
both
went
went
19.
high.
Mhm.
And it came in as 15, and it's hard not to be disappointed a little bit that this didn't overperform.
Mhm.
So I think that is emotionally where I know I'm at, and
Yeah.
you could speak for yourself. I do not want to speak for your emotions here, but I and we try to be cold and calculating and just run with the numbers, but I do feel a little disappointed that this movie, especially as I saw it and I loved it,
Yeah.
that this movie didn't overperform yet.
Yeah.
That's what I'll button it with, is yet. It hasn't overperformed yet. What about you, Clayton? What do you feel? What do you think when that number first became solidified earlier today? $15 million opening.
Well, it's pretty much stayed at 15 all weekend. I thought we would get a
Mhm.
bump. I thought the Sunday might have been stronger than they expected, but
Mhm.
I'm not upset. I do think, it made double digits. It's
Mhm.
right in that mid area that makes us think, okay, next weekend's going to tell the tale of this movie
Mhm.
because, from what you've said, what other people I've heard have said, there's a lot of passion for this movie. Now, the
Mhm.
cinema score is B plus, so that's not spectacular, but
It's
I
real
still
though. It's real.
it's real, yes. But I still have faith that this movie is gonna have legs, which I
Okay.
think is something that, yeah, with the social media push that Zendaya had, the fact that Amazon and MGM were really behind this movie. They didn't
Mhm.
just dump it in theaters and then expect people to just watch it on Prime in 17 days. They really were making this an event, which
Mhm.
I applaud MGM and Amazon because I'm going to applaud Amazon here, which is something I never do. They
Wow.
really went for it with this because,
Mhm.
yes, this is going to be a big movie on their streamer, but they understand that it won't be as big if they don't push it in theaters. If it's not a legitimate theatrical movie, it will not do the sort of money, but also
Mhm.
get the sort of cultural cachet that it needs to have. Because eyes are one thing, but when you see a movie open to number one, which this did, that says something.
Right, right. I mean, I think with this movie, legs are important. Fall Guy coming out next weekend is potentially a huge overlap in that
Mhm.
it's date movie, you know, it's fun movie. It's a movie that maybe that same audience is going to choose between them and then go for the newer one. So we'll see next weekend how much Fall Guy affects us. I mean, one I'll throw out here as a comp because it was an MGM movie that basically opened up a year ago, this time, opened up in April, is Air, the well liked, well reviewed Damon Affleck reunion about Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan's not in it.
Mhm.
And that opened April 7th, 14.4 million. Similarly, a well reviewed movie that everyone was hoping would be the big overperforming adult drama hit.
Mhm.
And it didn't really happen. It did fine,
Yeah.
and that movie did 14 million. We were all thinking, okay, great reviews, is it going to hold and have a spectacular hold? And it didn't really. It dropped 46%, which is great, but you know ended up getting to 52 million, which again was good. But I think we were all hoping for more for challengers because Zendaya is such a big current star compared to Damon and Affleck.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say about this film, and
Hmm.
it's a theory that we were throwing around, and I think it does apply to this.
Okay.
When we were talking about No Hard Feelings when it came to Anyone But You,
Hmm.
how people were trained by No Hard Feelings to then wanna see more movies like that because they missed out in the theater.
Mhm.
I think this is a similar case.
Okay.
This is because this sort of romantic drama and, Anthony D is for, uh, disorienting me with calling this a romantic comedy.
Mhm.
He
D'Alessandro.
D'Alessandro keeps saying this is a romantic comedy. It is not a romantic comedy. There's funny elements like you because you've described it to me. There are funny
Mhm.
elements, but it is not a comedy. There's no hair gel scene. There's
There's
no
not a hair
naked
gel
fight
scene.
on the beach, right? This is not a comedy.
I
There's
can
no
confirm no hair gel scene in Challengers. There is
And
not.
for more up to date, there's no spider tarantula in someone's undie pants, right?
There's
So
not that.
the thing about this is this is a movie that even if it does underperform at the theaters, which we don't want it to do,
No.
it is training younger people to go see these movies because the people who are going to miss this in the theater are going to watch it on Prime and say, I wish I saw this movie in the theater. Because you said to me, there's no excuse for me not to see this movie in theaters.
Yes.
Like
So here,
you have
yes.
to. You can't complain about these movies not happening if you don't go see it. You were saying that to
Yes.
me, and we're not saying this to young people because young people don't know these movies exist. They don't know that they have the opportunity to see these movies.
I
And
think though
so,
we could say that to anyone 31 between 31 and 59.
nine,
59. Anyone
nine.
between 31 and 59, if you don't go see Challengers in theaters, you cannot complain that they don't make star-driven, non-IP, human-based, fun movies anymore. You cannot
Mhm,
complain. You can listen, obviously, if you provide a doctor's note or
mhm,
some kind of well, some kind of excuse that you're caring for someone who's infirmed, you are under house arrest, those type of things. Either you have to provide some kind of uh, doctor's note or just legal forms that show you cannot leave your house. If you show us
mhm.
those, then yes, you could be between 31 and 59 and not go see challenges and
T
still be able to complain. But
take
but
a pic
short of that,
of your bracelet of your, if you are somebody who is,
mhm,
not able to leave your house for legal reasons, right?
mhm.
What is that called? Your house arrest.
House
Did you
arrest,
say
house
house
arrest.
arrest? Yeah.
I did, yeah, house arrest, yeah.
Take a picture of your bracelet and we'll
Yes.
know. I mean, we know what those bracelets look like. We've all seen them close up.
Yes.
So that is an excuse not to
That's an
see this movie.
excuse. Email us, theboboyspodcast@gmail.com. If you can't see challenges in theaters because you are under house arrest, email us a picture of the ankle bracelet,
Mhm.
and we will not harangue you on air. We
Mm-mm.
won't. But
Mm.
you gotta have that, or you gotta have a doctor's note, or you gotta have a doctor's note for the infirmed person that you're the guardian or caring for.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, lots of shifts at work, that doesn't count. And I'm looking at Euclid. I know those soot mines, they keep you in there for 20, 25, 30 hours at a time.
Mhm.
But you know what? They do let you out. They do
Yeah.
let you out at some point. And when you are let out of that soot mine, you do need to go see challengers this week.
Yeah.
So
I
so
absolutely
long
am going
shifts at the
to.
soot mines are not an excuse. So that goes for all of our listeners that we love who live in the stacks, all the plain billies. You're working at the
Earth
soot
dogs.
mines, you're working at the car wash, whatever it is. At some point they let you out. You got to go see challengers.
Yes. Now, here's positives.
Yes. Yes.
58% women,
Mm-hmm.
huge turnout, 18 to 34, 76%.
Yep.
The biggest demo is 18 to 24 at 41%, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is an extremely young audience.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
they are responding to this movie. This is great.
This is great.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the youngsters are going. Maybe the oldsters who do take a little time, they
Mm-hmm.
have to hear, is this good? Is this worth my time? They may go next weekend. I
Right.
do know what you mean, Fall Guy, that is a tough competition because Gosling's at the height of his powers right now. He's beloved by the same audience that is gonna see challengers, but I think there's
Yeah.
room for both. I think
I
there's
think
room for both.
I mean, there has to be, if theaters are gonna survive, there has to be room for both. The existence
Mhm.
of Fall Guy opening cannot totally crater challengers, or else there are just not enough people who go to movie theaters anymore.
Yeah.
Movie theaters used to have 3, 4 of the same genre of movie that could hit at the same time.
And here, this is from Deadline.
Mhm.
It's a date movie. 31% came with either their spouse, partner, boyfriend, or girlfriend.
Wow.
And weirdly, young guys like the movie more than girls,
Interesting. Well, I mean,
but
listen.
not by that much. It was 83% score to 80%. So, I mean, there's a little bit of a difference there, but not that much. But positively, that means bros are going to tell their bros, hey,
Right.
bro, this
Mhm.
movie isn't just for chicks. this
Right.
movie is for bros. Now that's them speaking, not me. I would never speak like that.
You would never say chicks and bros
I,
in your sentences
I would
anymore.
say
No.
bros, but I wouldn't say chicks.
You wouldn't say chicks. Okay,
No,
got it. Got it.
no. I've said
So,
bro on this show. So if I were to say I'd never say bro, then I would be a liar. But
yes,
I do
someone would
not
go back
say
and find the
chicks.
tape.
I
Yeah.
don't say chicks. Chicks I do not say.
So, but we do say babe of the week because of course,
That well, that's something that had already been instituted by Kirk, the great Kirk
right,
Minahan podcast Jesus on his show, the Kirk Minahan Show. That's
right,
his thing. We're just saying, we just try to get a nomination for people that we enjoy.
right. So, I did see this movie with my wife
Hmm.
over the weekend. We both liked it. I mean, much like the results of these surveys, I liked it more than her. She liked it a
Okay.
lot. I loved it. So there could be something in here that guys are responding more than chicks, and I'm saying chicks because you brought it up there. So I'm just bouncing off of you.
We don't have to make it a thing. This was a
So
theoretical person saying this. So unless
right,
they're speaking, you shouldn't use that term.
got it. Oh, only the theoretical person. Got it. Got it.
Hmm.
Got it.
Is that
So
theoretical person talking now, or is it you?
that was yeah, sure. We could say that was me quoting the theoretical person.
Okay.
So yeah, I think something interesting from the screening I saw is we're walking out of the movie. There were people who were just
People.
gathered people, groups of people gathered around in the lobby who had just seen the movie as well, just standing there talking about it. What did you think this scene meant? Did you think that this character really meant that? Talking about just aspects of the movie, analyzing it and not analyzing, oh, did you see the stinger? And now in Challengers 2, Harry Styles is going to play is going to play John McEnroe. Did you see that
Hmm.
stinger where someone's no, there's nothing like that. They're actually talking about the characters, the movie that they just saw, not, the extended universe of Challengers. And on our walk home, there were a group of, I think, 2 or 3 younger women trailing a few feet behind us, and they were gabbing and gabbing about this movie, about Zendaya, about the sort of three-way relationship at the center of this movie. So, it's that type of movie that gets people talking
Hmm.
about what happened, and again, they're not talking about what do you think this means in the alternate universe? Is John Krasinski gonna play one of the characters we just saw in an alternate universe in the sequel?
Yes.
Nothing like that. It wasn't them talking about casting news for
Hmm.
future Challengers movies. They were actually talking about the movie. So that's the type of thing that, in theory, could carry over to get word of mouth going. But we'll
Yeah, and
see.
and it doing really well on the coasts. So that's
Right.
big.
But to be
AMC, Lincoln
expected.
Square in NYC, top grossing multiplex, of course, best theater in the city. Don't tell me about any other theater in the city. AMC Lincoln Square is where it's at.
Wow.
So, uh, I think that is, sometimes it's a double-edged sword because people love to hate New York, but at the end of
Mhm.
the day, they do follow New York, LA, and where they go, right?
Right.
And so that is going to be something that I think is going to spread to the plain Billies, the Stacks dwellers, and the like. Right now, Pat, I do have a question though about the diversity demos, right? So
Okay.
43% Caucasian, 27% Latino and Hispanic, 17% Black, 9% Asian, and 4% other. Now,
Mhm.
this director, whose name is
Luca Guadagnino.
okay, is a member of your tribe, correct? He is an
He
Italian man.
he is a paisan, yes.
Paisan.
Yes.
Now,
He's one of us. He's a good fella, yeah.
wouldn't this be a great time to do what I wanted to do with Cabrini, which
Okay.
is just lift out Italian to see how many of the Paisans went to this movie, right? Because I know that that's not only 4% other, that's not what they're saying, because I do think that they put Italians into Caucasian, but for this case,
Right.
would you say that lifting them out would be illuminating?
I don't, because I don't think, even though Luca Guadagnino is a paisan,
Uh-huh.
I don't think he really means much to the Italian community right now, the
Okay.
Italian American community. I mean, maybe over
Mhm.
in Italy, he's got a big following, and he can't walk down the streets in Rome without being followed. But I think
Yeah.
in Bensonhurst, I don't think anyone knows Luca Guadagnino.
Okay.
They're talking about the Yankees. They are not talking about uh, a bigger splash in
Okay.
Bensonhurst. So yeah, I don't think this is the movie to lift Italians out of the Caucasian demo, because
But maybe
I
the
just
next
I don't
movie,
think
if this is a sleeper
right.
and Luca becomes, the a name.
He's gotta direct, and I know Travolta had his take on it, but he's gotta direct
Mhm.
like a Gotti biopic. He's gotta direct a mafia movie before he means anything to the Italian American community.
It can I also just because I do wanna applaud Amazon MGM. Can I applaud them for something else too? They
Sure.
very easily could have platformed this movie.
Yes,
Because
they could
that
have.
is something that I mean, I know they didn't platform Bones and All, which was his previous movie with Timothy Chalamet that opened lower than this. Obviously, it's a
Mhm.
whole different ball of wax when it's a cannibal romance and not like a tennis, romantic drama. Like
Right.
that was a harder sell, obviously.
Much harder sell, yeah.
But I think opening this wide, this is the sort of movie that could have been platformed and it would have been disastrous because you would have had
Yes.
big numbers at 4 theaters in New York and LA, and then it could have opened to $4 million or something. You know what I mean? Like the fact
Right.
that this is the number one movie, it made 15, which is double what the number two movie made. That
Yes.
is all positive.
Yes. Yes. It gets to tout number 1 movie in America. I mean, something Air wasn't able to do.
Mhm.
Air opened a little below this, but it opened number 3. So it gets to say number 1 movie in America on all the newspaper ads, all the print ads this week. So that's big. I mean, I think the thing to see is gonna be how much of a run Amazon, MGM give this in the theaters, because
Mhm.
in the end, they want their movies on Prime. This movie's gonna do huge numbers on Prime, like something like, what's the terrible movie, The Rich People in the Mansion, with the great pulp joke that we saw this year? The movie with, Gone Girl, where she shoulda got a supporting actress Oscar
Oh,
nomination.
Saltburn.
Saltburn. Like, Saltburn is an Amazon movie that tanked in the theaters, but did do really well on streaming, and I think Challengers will do really well on streaming, but the question is this movie gonna drop there in 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Is it gonna get a proper 8 weeks or so exclusive to movie theaters? I think, because this is the type of movie, it's not gonna be Anyone But You. It's not gonna go on a crazy run. It doesn't have the Christmas corridor coming up to do that. But it is a movie that, if it stays in theaters for 2 months, could really keep racking up cash over those 2 months. The
Mhm.
problem would be, is this gonna be on PVOD by Memorial Weekend, and then it's gonna be on Prime the first week in June? That would be the problem.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they could change course, but they seem to be committed to making this a theatrical success. I
Mhm.
mean, it was in IMAXs and it did well in IMAX. I mean, even that's also another positive. It made 1.2 million in IMAX.
Mhm.
So the
Mhm.
PLFs and IMAX drove 37% of the growth. So even a movie like this, which doesn't have big explosions, spaceships, things like that, people
Mhm.
want to see on the biggest screen possible or on a PLF. So that is positive.
Mhm.
I do think they are committed to making this a hit.
Mhm.
And so, I think they'll keep it in. I think they'll keep it in. I think next week will tell the tale, honestly,
Yes, yes.
if they
The
have to cut bait, after, does Fall Guy come out and just really eat Challenger's lunch,
Right, right.
then it might behoove them, but they put so much money behind this ad campaign, you know?
They did, and Zendaya is definitely pushing it. She's out there. She wants us to be a hit. What a hit means for a movie like this, I feel like it's got to do air numbers at the minimum. Like I feel
Oh
like
yeah,
Challenges
50.
has got to hit 50. 60 is a success. 70 when we start getting if this movie got over 70, then it's like
Crazy.
okay,
Crazy.
total hit, total success. But I think opening at 15, it's got to do a 3 point something multiplier to get itself to 50 million domestic.
And 55% of the people who went to see this movie went to see this because of Zendaya.
Yeah, it's all her. I mean, if
Yeah.
this is, um, we like her as an actress, but if this is, well, it's interesting to say if this is. I was about to say if this is Florence Pugh, this movie doesn't do as well. But a comp that I've seen thrown around in terms of a movie with no IP that's an original movie for adults is Don't Worry Darling from last year, and that opened bigger, though that cratered.
Mhm.
But that is a similar not genre, but a similar type of movie in that it's an adults movie that's not IP. And I think that opens like 19 and a half or 20 million maybe.
The thing about that movie, though, is that it was a rare case of all of the backstage stuff
Yeah.
really pushing people to see that because, I mean,
Yeah.
Florence Pugh sleepwalking through her duties in promotion
Yeah.
became promotion for
Yeah,
that
began
movie.
promotion. In the
The
way that I think, Dakota Johnson, people have tried to give her credit for sleepwalking through the promotional campaign as some kind of heroic act. Florence Pugh with Don't Worry Darling, that was the actual case of that, where someone slept walk through their promotion, but it was very positive.
Yes, and just in a practical sense with Florence Pugh, I know she is currently being held hostage on the set of Thunderbolts. Our thoughts
Yes.
and prayers are with you,
Yes.
Miss Pugh, or what did Olivia Wilde call her?
Oh,
In
Little
that
Miss
in
Flo? Little Miss Flo? I think it was
Little
Little
Miss
Miss Flo.
Flo.
Yeah, which I wonder if the Progressive Insurance lady ever considered suing over that comment.
She's very litigious, so probably.
Yeah,
Papers were
yeah,
probably served, but that was the
yeah.
least of Olivia Wilde's problems because papers were being served, at a lot of places, to her. But my thought with that is Florence Pugh, famous smoker, has
Mhm,
that famous smoker's cough and laugh. There's
mhm.
no way Florence Pugh is running up and down a tennis court
Okay.
the way that Zendaya is, and that's nothing against I think she could eventually do it, but
Right.
I just don't see her currently
Mm.
doing challengers. That would be
Y
my only thing. Otherwise, I mean, she's a spectacular actor and can
Specific
do anything.
actress. But yeah, I mean,
Actor.
Zendaya is the reason
They're all
people went to
actors.
see this. There's a lot of very good actresses and even name actresses who, if you switch them into this part, this movie opens to like $4 million. Exact
Oh,
same
yeah.
movie
Pew
with
doesn't have 185 million IG followers.
right, right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zendaya is the IP here in
Mhm.
this movie, and I think anything it does going forward is people wanting to see her and people. This movie got great reviews.
People.
It's on 88% Rotten Tomato. I think the word of mouth is going to be good. B plus cinema score. You would have liked to see that in A minus, but I think the people who like this are going to really like it. I think there's a difference sometimes between people giving a thumbs up, but a soft thumbs up. I do think the people who like this movie are going to strongly advocate for it.
Oh,
So,
you absolutely did. Oh, and just to we'll wrap up the challengers unless you have
mhm,
something else to add, but
mm-mm,
in this deadline article, Anthony does say that Amazon is pushing this. They're boosting the profile of the movie in the first window so that it carries on strong in subsequent ones.
yeah,
What does that sound like? That sounds like the way things used to be and
yeah,
the way things worked and the way things made money for everyone. Put it in
yes,
the theater, then you go PVOD, then you go on your streamer. I know it's not DVDs, huh?
huh?
God, we would all love to go back to those days where DVDs sold butt tons, but that's not gonna
Challengers would be
happen.
such a big DVD movie.
Oh,
You get
it would be every dorm room would have that Challengers double box, of where it'd be like the sleeve, you pull it out. It'd be
Yep,
one of those fancy ones with the bonus disc.
yep, yep. Zendaya and the Josh O something and Mike Face doing, commentary on this would be the reason you could sell this DVD for, like, 21.99. Easy.
Josh O'Connor, speak his name.
Uh, he was very good in this. I shouldn't call him Josh O something because now I have seen him act, and I did
Mhm.
think he was very good. So
Good.
he is Josh O'Connor until I forget.
Mhm. And you will forget.
I
But
will
you will
forget.
not forget Luca Guadagnino.
Luca Guadagnino. Yeah.
Of course you won't.
No.
All right. Well,
Paisan.
let's talk really quick. Unsung hero. I
Mhm.
mean, I was right where it placed, but this thing
Yep.
didn't do what I thought it was gonna do, which was 11, which I think I will admit was a little bit high.
Mhm.
The real story here, only a few 100,000 above the collab coming back
Amazing.
strong. Godzilla, Kong, 181.6. There is gas left in this tank.
Yes. Yes. I mean, this movie's at, yeah, 181.6, made 7 million this weekend. It's starting to get to that point where it's not out of the realm of possibility that this could creep to 200 domestic. I think it's a
I mean,
tough road to hoe.
Fall Guy's tough, because that
Fall
is the
Guy's gonna take a
same.
lot of screens, yeah.
Yeah, because this already lost 346 screens, but it overtook Civil War.
Mhm.
And obviously, Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is what we thought it was at number 6 with only
Yeah.
3.8. This thing is gonna be out of theaters pretty soon. But, yeah, it's just like the fact that Kong was number 3 and almost number 2, and who knows? Monday, when you're listening to this, we could be looking at the collab back at number 2.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. The collab could get up there. People love this collab, and, they love it every weekend. You start to feel like they love it even more than we thought they loved it.
Mhm.
And we talked about this 2 years ago, when Versus opened, when Godzilla v Kong opened up spring 21, really
That was
brought
3 years ago.
3 years ago, right, 3 years ago, that movie really brought theaters back post-pandemic. It was, like, sort of the movie that reopened things,
First one you
and
saw.
first one I saw in the theater, Kong at the end is Kong language that I'm home, and I teared up because I was
Mhm.
in a movie theater, and I agreed, and we talked about how, and I think it was that year the Oscars hadn't happened yet. It was, like, the much delayed Oscars, the train station Oscars, and we said how Kong and Godzilla should open that show, that
Mhm.
they'd earned the right to open up the Academy Awards that year.
It's in the archives. You can listen to this episode.
It's there. It's a historical document, and, the Oscars obviously now, next time we have them, are so far off from now, but this collab,
Mhm.
Godzilla, Kong, get them on the Academy Awards stage as presenters.
Mhm.
Get them on that stage, and I know when the Oscars take place, it'll be so far down the road from when this movie came out, but I do feel like the cultural footprint of this collab is long enough that Godzilla and Kong should have a presence on the Academy Awards in 2025.
Oh,
They absolutely
100%.
should. Yeah.
I mean, that's for the kids too. You wanna get a younger audience involved in the Oscars. If Kong and Godzilla come out
Mhm.
in tuxedos,
Yes, yes.
holding hands,
Holding hands, yeah. They're collab,
fake
yeah.
pretend to fight,
Right, right. Right.
you,
You,
yeah,
I oughta, yeah. To the moon,
to the
Alice,
moon,
yeah.
exactly. So that would do great. I mean,
That would
the
do great.
Oscars
People love
rebounded
it.
this year. Great Oscars ceremony. I had to eat a little bit of crow. I mean, Jimbo Kimball did fine. He kept the ship going
Yep, steady hand.
correctly.
Yeah.
Steady hand. I agree now. He's a steady hand now. Of course, next year probably going to be Mulaney, going to be a new era, going to be a great
Mhm,
era
mhm.
because I think if they pick Mulaney, It's he's going to be the guy for the next couple of years.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
who knows where the Oscars could go. He could single-handedly save the Oscars. But it did take a steady hand, and Jimbo Kimmel had that steady hand, so I got to give it to him. I'm being very congratulatory to
Very.
things and people that I usually don't
Yes, today
like.
you are pro Jimbo Kimball, you're pro Amazon.
I
The
know, but listen, I have to give respect where respect is due.
can I ask you has your
You can
feelings
finish.
changed on Taylor Swift? And
Boycott is still going strong, until the kids get their winter jackets. Until she buys a winter jacket for every child in America, the boycott will continue. I will not purchase anything. I will not listen to anything that is Taylor Swift related. That includes previous music that I loved. Or if I do listen, it'll be the previously released Scooter Braun versions of all the songs, not the Taylor versions.
okay, so you will only listen to SB, to Scooter Braun, or
Hmm.
SBV, Scooter Braun
SBV.
version. Yeah,
Yep.
SBV. You
Yep.
you
It's
only
SBV
listen.
for me, baby, all the way.
Wow. So, Unsung Hero, I mean, that title really says it all because we mentioned it briefly and then just started talking about the collab immediately.
Hmm.
This thing opens to 7.7. It just, this is not a movie that really tells us anything about a star or director or anything other than the genre is so reliable. Church bus
Church
movies,
bus.
if you make them for the right budget, which I mean they almost always are, you usually don't see big budget versions of these, the Left Behind type movies, I don't think are happening anymore.
Hmm.
You make them at the right budget, you're going to make money in the theater on these church bus movies.
And here's the sneaky positive that it goes beyond the theaters when it comes to these church bus movies, is that if you had no church bus movies, if you're a church bus driver, you're driving someone
Yeah.
from home to church and then back, and that's it.
Right.
This is an extra stop. This is sitting out in a parking lot. If you don't want to see the movie, or if you want to see the movie, I don't know if they're comped or not, but
Hmm.
that is 2+ hours that of billable hours for the church buses. So this
Yeah.
is actually stimulating the economy in ways that most people don't even think about.
Yeah, if you are a church bus driver, you must be checking. I mean, honestly, you must be listening to the BO Boys because you
Mhm.
want to know when the next church bus movie is opening so that you could clear your schedule of any personal entanglements. You
Mhm.
know, I can't drive kids to the soccer practice that weekend. I can't drive my grandma to the hospital because I got to drive the church bus on the opening weekend of Unsung Hero and make some extra money here.
Yeah.
So yeah, church bus drivers, welcome to the BO Boys. We will keep you in the loop and let you know when your next gig is coming.
Yeah.
And I guess they take this out of the collection plate in the end to pay the church bus driver, right? I mean, that's got to
The
be coming out of the
tithings.
kitty. Yeah, the
I guess
tithings.
that's not
Yeah.
tithings. Tithings is when you give, that's from your paycheck. I guess
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
just the collection plate, as you say.
Yeah, the collection
Uh,
plate. Yeah.
who knows? Listen, if you're a church bus driver,
Yes.
okay, and you've driven churchgoers
Mhm.
from the pancake breakfast after the service to Unsung Heroes,
Mhm.
or what was the other one that just
Jesus
came out?
Revolution
Jeez, well,
or
yeah, and then there was, Angels, Ordinary Angels.
Ordinary Angels. Yeah.
Yeah, if you were somebody who's done that, let us know what that situation is. What's the bump in salary? I mean, what are you using the extra dough on? I mean,
Right.
is this a situation where it's, get a little bit, nicer gin this week? You
Mhm.
maybe get to bet a little bit more on the ponies, or are you putting away for the education of your kid, that you don't necessarily see too often? What
Right,
are you
right.
using the extra money for as a church bus driver?
Yeah, my guess is that the churches are hiring church bus drivers who are not gonna spend their extra money on the ponies or on a bottle of gin. I feel like there's some background checks happening there. I don't think it for all bus
Oh,
drivers.
oh,
I
oh, oh, Pat. Oh, Pat, I mean, this is a man who claims to be a Catholic, right? You're Catholic. You say you're Catholic.
Yeah, but and where
I
I'm
went to a
from,
Catholic school. I went to a Catholic school
where
for
I'm
9
from, there are
years.
not church buses that take anyone
Yeah.
anywhere. You come out of that church and you're on your own. You get on the subway.
Let me just
There's
say,
not a church bus waiting for you. Yeah.
I'm nailing these church bus drivers. They're feeling seen.
Okay.
They're feeling seen.
So they're
Okay.
getting the nice bottle of gin with
Mhm.
the unsung hero opening weekend extra paycheck.
Tell us your brand. Tell us your
Wow.
brand.
All right.
Email us. Tell us your brand.
Email us, theboboyspodcast at gmail.com. If you are a church bus driver, what gin did you buy with your extra paycheck from driving people to Unsung Hero? We want to know. So why don't we quickly just take a look? We're getting so many emails and we love it. Thank you for these
Thank you.
emails. We're gonna
We
have to
love
do a
you.
full mailbag episode soon, but let's take a look at a couple here. Um, quickly, here's this one. Wannabe oh boy Max let us know the news. Craven the Hunter is delayed to December. It's supposed to come out in August.
Oh
It is
yeah.
now coming out December 13th.
Oh. Oh.
And Max asked, could Craven be this year's Wonka? So Clayton, any
Little tongue
chance
in
that
cheek. Little tongue in cheek there,
little
Max.
tongue in cheek, a little tongue in cheek. We love it, Max.
We love it, Max. We know what you're doing.
No
No.
friggin' way. Craven the Hunter will be Wonka. This movie's a disaster.
Nope. What do you
Just
call
put
a
it
bad
out.
miracle? Nope.
Nope. Nope. Put it out. Put it out now. Put it out tomorrow. Like drop this,
Fuck it.
open this movie on a Monday. Open Craven the Hunter, a
Do it.
surprise Monday. Like remember when they opened the after the Super Bowl, they opened the Cloverfield Space movie on
Well, they put it on
Netflix.
Netflix.
They dropped on Netflix like right at it was like
Oh
during the
yeah.
Super Bowl. They announced this movie exists and also it will be on Netflix in an hour and a half. Do that
You
with
know.
Craven the Hunter. Just
You know what you do when the Knicks won tonight? If
yep,
they win again, they go on to the next round and they'll beat the 76ers. Just put up an ad after that and be like, guess what? Craven's in theaters. So you can celebrate after the Knicks victory
yep,
at Craven the Hunter.
yep.
Why not?
Why not? Drop this. Let's get Monday 10 a.m. showings of Craven the
Mhm.
Hunter right now and just get this over with. Get
That
this
would
over
make
with.
so much more money if it was a surprise.
100%. 100%. The holy shit factor of Craven the Hunter being surprise dropped in movie theaters. I know when movie theaters, there's all the logistics. You got to email the .mov file or the thumb drive to, send it to these theaters. But just Sony, just do that. Send them the thumb drives and I mean, at this point, Craven the Hunter should be released as a Kevin Smith roadshow. And I know Kevin Smith is not in Craven the Hunter or he didn't direct it. Just send
We don't
Kevin
know
Smith.
that.
We don't
You
know
don't know
that.
that.
There's
You
only,
don't
the
know
only way
that.
to know is for them to release this movie. But
Mhm.
just get Kevin Smith out there roadshowing Craven the Hunter and let us watch it that way.
Let's get a hashtag going. I don't normally call for that,
Hmm.
but really hashtag release Craven now.
Release Craven now. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
release it now. Sony. That'll be they'll know you're in on the joke. You know how they tried to re-release Morbius in the theaters because of the memes and they thought, "Oh, people will go see this cuz they're memeing about it."
Hmm.
Be part of the joke. Be in on the joke. You
Well,
have a
create the
stinker.
joke. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, create the joke. You have a stinker. Just poop this thing out immediately. Get the
Yes.
poison out. Get the poison
Yes.
out.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
great idea.
I think that people would feel so confused. They would have no choice but to go.
They
Craven the
wouldn't believe it.
Hunter opening
They'd
as a
take
surprise
pictures.
Mon yeah.
They'd take pictures at a marquee. They'd be like, "It's
Yes.
real. It is out." People
It
wouldn't
is out.
believe it.
Yeah.
People wouldn't
Yeah.
believe it until they went and sat in the theater and they'd already bought a ticket and they saw it.
Yes.
The
Yes.
goodwill of a surprise drop of Craven, I think Sony will do this.
I mean, I think they have to.
Mhm.
I think they have to. You cannot wait until December 13th to put this movie out. It is
No.
unfathomable to imagine that Kraven the Hunter is not going to come out till December 13th, 2024. Put it out tomorrow. If you're listening to this, Sony, now, that means put it out today,
Mhm.
Monday, April 29th.
Yeah.
Drop this
3
movie in
PM.
theaters immediately.
3 PM
Yeah.
showing. Started at 3 PM.
Yeah. So, got an email from wannabe boy James.
Oh, this is amazing.
So, subject challenger's legs. Writes, first time emailer here, long time listener. I've appreciated your guys' enthusiasm for challengers and Zendaya's star power. I think its legs may be in danger. Me and my girlfriend went on Friday, and we were both severely disappointed in the lack of threesomes. Much
Mhm.
like anyone but you released 5 minutes of hardcore porn, I think challengers is going to have to release the DP cut to get over the lower scores I'm seeing from audiences. Clayton, you haven't seen this film. I have. I could confirm there is a surprising lack of threesomes in this movie.
Mhm.
I won't spoil anything. I will say that there are less threesomes in Challengers than there were in the classic 90s film Threesome with Laura Flynn Boyle.
A
That
movie that would
movie,
you be surprised to know that I watched in the last month?
you know,
I watched it on Tubi.
that actually does surprise me.
Really?
Not even because you wouldn't. I'm surprised you watched it and I didn't get some kind of text saying watching threesome now. So that's why I'm surprised. I'm just surprised to find this out on air. I'm a
You're
little
not
bit stunned.
surprised, you're a little hurt.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I should know when at this point someone that I'm close with is watching the Laura Flynn Boyle movie Threesome in 2024. That movie did it have more than one threesome or they only did it once in
No,
that movie?
it's alluded to that they did it more than once.
Yes, yes. So I could confirm Challengers does have less threesomes.
And less than The Mule.
Less than the Mule. That is I could confirm that. The Mule with Clint Eastwood had more threesomes than Challengers. And that is a little bit of a problem. As much as I like this movie, I gotta agree
Mhm.
with the caller here, with James,
Mhm.
that the lack of threesomes could be a word of mouth issue. And it could be the reason for that B plus instead of an A minus, because the cinema scores are always a function of people's expectations.
Yeah, and those commercials really did sort of sell the fact that there may be at least one threesome.
Right, right. So that I bet you is the reason why this didn't get an A minus. There were the people who went in there expecting hardcore threesomes, and you don't get that. So,
I'm always, and just to answer the second part, I'm always for DP cuts
mm-hmm.
if available.
Okay.
So, yeah, so if there is the footage, then why not release it?
Yes. Okay. Listen, in the end, we're always for any kind of stunt that could goose the box office. So if there is a DP cut, you don't release it now because I think
No.
right now people are going to see this movie because they like it and the buzz. But weekend 5, 6, Furiosa's coming out. You
Yep.
want to try and get back in the news there. That's when you release the DP cut of
Yeah,
Challengers.
because anyone but you didn't release the extra 5 minutes of hardcore pornography until closer to the end of the run and the Valentine's Day to try and
Yes.
get that bump. So, yeah, this isn't it would feel desperate if next weekend we could see the DP cut.
Right.
That feels desperate, and I don't think they're at that point with this movie yet.
Here's when I do that. I'll give you a date right now. I'll give James. This is the date when challengers should release the DP footage, the
This is
DP cut.
DPD. DPD.
June 14th. Inside Out is opening.
Yeah,
Father's Day weekend.
counter
By then,
programming.
this movie's in weekend like 7, I think. Probably weekend 7 or 8, near the end of the run. That's when Challengers releases the DP cut. The weekend of Friday, June 14th, Father's Day weekend. Give the dads a thrill. You
Yeah.
know, the
Say
call it the
say
dad parent cut.
Yeah.
Be cheeky about it. "Oh, it's
Mhm.
Happy Father's Day. Here's Challengers releasing the dad parent cut, DP cut, and we'll all know it's the threesome
Yeah.
cut." Yeah.
Yeah. Say DP, not Disney.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that'll be what people are saying online. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, that's the weekend. So, that's the weekend for it.
That's a weekend for it.
So, got an email from wannabe oh boy Aaron from Illinois. Subject: Challengers were the young people. Hello, BO boys, longtime listener, first time writer. I went to a screening of Challengers in the suburbs of Chicago. Was expecting a bunch of younger audience members checking out the latest movie with Zendaya. But with boots on the ground reporting from two screenings, our audience was filled with mostly those well over 50, which made me wonder if I was somehow in the wrong screening. It would be very interesting to get the demos from this movie from opening weekend. Now, of course, we do have the demos, and it is a younger skewing movie. So that is Aaron was just in an older skewing theater
Yeah.
and maybe an older skewing neighborhood. He's in
Possibly.
Chicago, but he said suburbs of Chicago. It just, it's an old suburb. So that might be Aaron needs to sort of take stock of who his neighbors are, and maybe where he lives is just not young enough for the lifestyle that Aaron wants to lead.
Oh, yeah. You got to move to the equivalent of Dime Square, whatever that is in Chicago.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Aaron, I mean, he's listening to the show. Obviously
So
seems like
great
a hip
person.
cat, great
Yeah.
person.
Hepcat.
He wants younger people around him. And I think you got to listen. Someone once said, go where the food is. And I think to Aaron, we say, go where the young people are, because that's what you want.
You got to make the scene. You want to make the scene while you still can.
So, he said boots on the ground, which reminds me, I did get a boots on the ground text this weekend that I would like to throw out there and get your opinion on, Clayton.
Lovely.
So this is a longtime wannabe O girl who is writing from Los Angeles. So she's also a coastal elite, and she's a wannabe O mom. She's got a wannabe O baby,
She ticks all the
and
boxes.
really does. Yeah, she's got a lot going on, and she wrote to me. In other news, blank, name redacted. In other
Okay.
news, name redacted and I are at the Grove, and she saw an ad for Fraggle Rock and said she wanted to watch it. And then we went to the kids' bathroom, and there's an Apple TV branded room with a big TV playing only Apple shows. And then she sent me a picture of her child in a room that is off a bathroom, a kid's bathroom in the Grove, where Apple Plus is showing episodes of their Fraggle Rock series. Now, we're not the Streamo Boys, huh?
Huh?
But the reason I bring this up is that is some incredible, and I say incredible in a positive way, brainwashing by this Streamo company to get children to, they're invading kids' bathrooms to get them to watch content, get them to watch
Mhm.
shows. And why are movie studios not in these kids' bathrooms?
Um, that's a great question, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
TV is the closest thing we have entertainment-wise to the toilet. So,
Mm,
watching a TV show next to a toilet or in the proximity of a toilet or on the toilet does not seem weird or, it does not seem wrong. Just
okay.
as being on the internet, being on your Instagram, being on your TikTok while you're on the toilet. Watching a movie
A new movie, yeah.
on or near a toilet, yes,
Mhm.
is, sacrilegious, you
Mm,
know? It feels wrong because it
right,
is wrong, and
right,
so if you are I mean, this is Apple TV, so this is the studio that did Argylle,
right.
did Napoleon, did,
Killers of the Flower
Killers of
Moon?
the Flower Moon, did Cha-Cha Smooth,
Yes,
uh,
the do Cha Cha Smooth. Yeah.
so these if these movies were played next to a toilet, I think it would make people recoil and feel
Okay.
wrong. Fraggle Rock, I mean, listen, I'll watch that while I take a number 2 any day, because it's just like staring at any other low form of entertainment.
Right, 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 right. It's a streaming TV show is really no different than reading a car magazine on the toilet,
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
reading an old issue of Maxim.
Maxim, yeah, yeah, absolutely,
But
yeah, so that I think is the difference. I think if
yeah,
these companies tried to get into bathrooms, that would look terrible. You don't want to see Zendaya in a clip from the Challengers near a bathroom.
yeah, yeah, and I
Now
would think
Euphoria, that's a different story.
right. And I would think the filmmakers probably have some say in this. Scorsese famously didn't want the intermissions that some of the theaters were adding when
Mhm,
Killers of the Flower Moon was playing end of last year. So I would guess he pushed back hard on Apple TV Plus doing Killers of the Flower Moon installations in branded rooms off of kids' bathrooms. I would
mhm,
bet that that was just a total no go from his deal.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Although Doug Liman would probably protest it and then end up acquiescing to it. So I do feel like, if Amazon was like, Roadhouse is gonna be a toilet movie, he'd say, "Well, I'm not gonna show up for that," and then he'd be in one of the stalls.
wow. Well, listen,
Be a
Roadhouse
man
is
of your word. Be a man of your word, bro.
come on the show. He did, yeah, bro. You do use bro a lot. Come on the show, Doug Lyman, because
Come on the
Clayton is
show.
obviously throwing that out there that you would appear in a toilet stall if Amazon asked you to. So come on
Mhm.
here, come on the BO Boys and refute that claim by Clayton. Until you do, it is the only claim that people can take as truth.
Yeah.
So,
It is
yeah,
currently fact.
it's currently fact until refuted on the show. So keep sending us your emails. We've got a great email that we'll get to on a future episode from Javier, who gave us another boots on the ground school survey for the movies coming out in May 2024. I think we could
What
talk
an
about that.
MVP. This is
Yeah,
so great. These are so
yeah.
great.
Yeah. So Javier, we will be getting to that soon. We got some emails from Connor and Colin and of course OG Adam from the Stacks that we'll get to
Oh,
on future
yeah.
episodes. So and keep sending us your emails to BO Boys Podcast at gmail.com. Watch us on YouTube. We are YouTubers, so subscribe to the BO Boys YouTube channel. And of course, we've missed a week or two, but we've got a Kirk exclusive that we're cooking up that's going to be appearing very soon on the Kirk Minahan YouTube channel.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'll just say what it is. Clayton, we talked a lot on the Challengers preview episode about the I think it was 1989 36-minute
Yoink.
film starring Dick Van Patten, Dirty Tennis.
Mhm.
And we are going to watch that in its entirety and do a watch along commentary of Dirty Tennis. And that will air exclusively on the Kirk Minahan Show's YouTube channel.
Mhm.
So it's going to happen. We're doing it immediately after this episode ends.
No rest for the wicked.
And it is going to be up within, you know, I don't know what's going to drop first in the next day, the watch along of Dirty Tennis by the BO Boys on the Kirk Minahan YouTube channel, or Craven the Hunter being dropped in theaters. It's a neck and neck race, what comes out on Monday or Tuesday morning.
Oh, if Sony's smart, it's Craven.
They got to beat us there because once this BO Boys watch along of Dirty Tennis drops on the
Mhm. No
Kirk
one's gonna be
Minahan
talking
YouTube
about
channel,
anything else.
right? You could, if Craven drops at the same time as that, no one cares about Craven.
Yeah.
Because all they're going to talk about is Dirty Tennis watch along by the BO
This
Boys.
is Farrah Fawcett dying the same day Michael Jackson died.
Mhm. Yes,
And
100%.
Craven, unfortunately, is Farrah Fawcett.
Yes, we are the death of Michael Jackson.
Mhm.
100%.
Yep.
We yeah. I try not to be boastful, but in this case, our watch along of Dirty Tennis is the death of Michael Jackson.
Mhm.
100%. So look for that on YouTube any minute now. Hopefully, should be up there very soon. And of course, give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. We've got some Apple Podcast reviews. We're going to get to them soon.
Yeah.
So leave us your reviews because we will be reading some new Apple Podcast reviews. So get ready for that. Follow
Mhm.
us on social media at the BO Boys Pod. Wannabe senior intern Christopher, killing it on Twitter X and on TikTok with these clips. Oh my God, people are loving these clips from Christopher, and people are loving the Substack. The BO Boys Substack is back thanks to Wannabe junior intern Jack. So subscribe. It is a Substack that has been recommended by Scott Mendelson, by the tribal
Mhm.
chief. So that is a huge feather in Jack's cap. Raise your ones up in the air, acknowledge your tribal chief. And yeah, I mean this is we got a lot going on. This is great. And we
So
will be
many
back.
platforms and not a one more.
Yep. So we will be back soon with the weekend preview for the opening weekend of The Fall Guy in Clayton. I mean, that is it. I got nothing left to say. There is nothing
Oh,
left to say.
there can't be,
No.
except for until next time,
Will
we'll
smell
smell
you
you at
at
the
the
box
box
office.
office.